Welcome to today's Explainer. If you've ever dreamt of just taking total, absolute control of your growing season, guiding a plant all the way from a tiny, vulnerable seed to a sturdy, garden-ready powerhouse, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're mapping out how to build the absolute ultimate do-it-yourself seedling greenhouse.
Let's be real for a second and start with a scenario that is honestly all too familiar for us. You spend weeks, literally weeks, carefully nurturing these little seeds on your windowsill. And what happens? You end up with these thin, weak, pale stems that are just stretching desperately for the light. Or even worse, you transplant them outside and boom, a sudden, unexpected spring frost wipes out your entire crop overnight. It's incredibly frustrating, isn't it?
Well, the ultimate solution to all that heartache is actually bringing the environment under your own control with a homemade greenhouse. By building it yourself, you unlock cost-effective, truly weather-independent yields. You no longer have to rely on the completely unpredictable whims of early spring weather. And the best part? You get to skip those massive price tags that come with commercial, pre-made greenhouse kits.
So here is our blueprint for today. 1. Introduction to the homemade greenhouse. 2. Choosing materials and structure. 3. Step-by-step construction. 4. Biothermal and temperature control. 5. Care for healthy plants. And finally, 6. Practical experience and tips.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Introduction to the Homemade Greenhouse.
The perks of going the DIY route here are massive, especially if you're a hobbyist or a small-scale farmer really looking to optimize your budget. First off, it significantly extends your growing season. You can start weeks or even months earlier than you would in an open garden. Second, if we're doing a quick cost analysis, building a simple tunnel setup entirely avoids the extremely high initial investment of a glass or hard polycarbonate pre-made structure. But most importantly, it produces strong, healthy plants that give you high yields, granting you complete independence from those annoying seasonal constraints.
Moving on to Section 2, Choosing materials and structure.
So you have options for every budget here. If you want to keep costs incredibly low, you can build a budget PVC tunnel. This uses flexible PVC or plastic rods for the arches and a lightweight Agrivello anti-frost cover. It's agile, highly cost-effective, and absolutely perfect for early spring protection. On the flip side, if you want a permanent fixture, you can upgrade to a professional steel tunnel. This uses 25mm galvanized steel pipes and a heavy-duty 3-layer UV4 stabilized film. Yes, it requires a higher initial investment, but it's going to withstand high winds and last for years without the plastic degrading on you.
Okay, Section 3, Step-by-step construction.
Okay, let's dive into this structural build. Step 1, always clear and disinfect your chosen flat, well-drained ground. Just remove any lingering pathogens. Step 2 is absolutely critical for structural integrity. Whether you use PVC or steel, you've got to bend your arches exactly 0.50 meters apart. This precise spacing is what prevents the cover from sagging under heavy rain or a late snow. Step 3, stretch your cover tightly. A 50-micron UV-stabilized film is highly recommended for this. Finally, Step 4, leave some extra film at the bottom, kind of like a skirt, and bury it deep in the soil. This creates a hermetic seal, locking out cold drafts and pests entirely. Next up is Section 4, Biothermal and Temperature Control.
This brings us to biothermal heating. I know, it sounds super technical, but it's really just an entirely natural exothermic reaction that happens when organic materials decompose. As aerobic and anaerobic bacteria break down the organic matter, they release a massive amount of natural heat and carbon dioxide right into the root zone of your greenhouse. It is literally like having a natural, self-sustaining radiator right beneath your plants.
So, the crucial point is this specific ratio, 3:1. To get the perfect biothermal reaction going, the optimal mix is 3 parts fresh horse manure to 1 part dry straw. And hey, if the straw's too dry, you definitely must moisten it with water to kickstart that microbial fermentation.
Here's exactly how you construct that natural radiator step by step. First, dig a trench inside your greenhouse. Second, pack in your 3:1 mix to a depth of 40 to 45 centimeters. Now this is the most important part. Step 3, you must wait. The decomposing matter is going to ignite and rapidly spike to 50 to 60 degrees Celsius. If you plant right now, you will literally cook your seeds. There's no way around it. You have to wait a few days for it to stabilize, and then, Step 4, top it with 12 to 14 centimeters of clean, disinfected topsoil.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the dramatic shift in temperature required as the plant grows. Take a look at the post-sprouting phase. During germination, you want it hot, right around 24 to 25 degrees. But the very moment those first green leaves pop up, you must intentionally drop the temperature to between 12 and 16 degrees during the day and a pretty chilly 8 to 10 degrees at night for about a week. This mild thermal stress is an absolute expert trick. It completely stops the plant from growing a tall, weak, pale stem, a condition called etiolation, and instead it forces it to build a massive, super strong root system. After a week, you just return to the standard 15 to 25 degree vegetative growth range.
All right, moving into Section 5, Care for Healthy Plants.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point. Check out this rather happy-looking cartoon pea. But jokes aside, the underlying message from agricultural experts here is deadly serious. You cannot be indifferent or blind to your seedlings. They need your constant observation. Checking on them daily is exactly how you spot a watering issue or a sneaky pest problem before it completely destroys your crop.
To guarantee your success, agricultural sources point out 4 major don'ts. First, don't just dig up garden soil. It's way too heavy. Instead, use a 1:1:1 ratio of forest soil, humus, and sand, mixed with a little wood ash to get that perfect fluffy texture. Second, don't overwater. Only give them water when the top layer of soil is actually dry. Excessive moisture and poor ventilation will cause lethal fungal diseases practically overnight. Third, don't overcrowd. If leaves are touching, they're competing for light. And finally, don't plant your seeds too early. For tomatoes, for example, the ideal age before planting outside is exactly 40 to 50 days. A younger, shorter seedling will always outperform an older, overgrown one.
Finally, let's look at Section 6, Practical Experience and Tips. This is just a brilliant, real-life success tip shared by a user on a popular do-it-yourself gardening forum. Basically, instead of starting seeds in pots and then ripping them out to plant in the soil, this grower buries the pots directly into the soil at the ends of the greenhouse tunnel right from the very start. By doing this, the roots grow out into their final resting place naturally, which completely eliminates the risk of transplant shock entirely. It's a real game changer.
And as you prepare to eventually move any of your plants out of your perfect greenhouse environment and into the open garden, remember this pro tip: always harden them off. For 1 to 2 weeks, take your seedling trays outside during calm, windless days. Gradually increase their time in the direct sun and open air. This physically toughens up the plant cells, ensuring they actually survive the harsh reality of the great outdoors.
To wrap up this explainer, please remember that weather conditions vary wildly depending on your local climate, so always adapt these temperature ranges to your specific region, and of course, practice safety with your tools. By building this microclimate, you aren't just protecting a few seeds, you are buying yourself total seasonal independence. So, are you ready to take complete control of your harvest? Share your DIY greenhouse plans and your results in the comments below. Thanks so much for learning with us today.